Good morning. I just thought I'd do a video while the house is calm and clear. The kids are still sleeping. It's Sunday morning. Um, and I really want, this is kind of an intro video to the strategy of dynamic range trading. Uh, First of all, I think I need to tell you my story. So my story is that I started off with the stock market, buying shares of Apple or Facebook or whatever, and watching it go up and down for a few days. And then, eventually, I got kind of tired of that. And a patient of mine came around and noticed that I was interested in the stock market. And he said, "Hey, doc, follow me you know, for a few days on Skype and watch me trade." I didn't know anything about option trading or futures trading at that time. And so, we went back and forth on that conversation for about two or three, um, 2 or 3 years. I really thought that I knew what I was doing. I was happy trading the stocks, and I didn't really think that this guy knew anything. I thought I knew everything. So, after him just badgering me over and over and over and over and over again about that, I finally said, "Okay, Don, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna join you on Skype for a few days and see what happens." Well, a few days went by. We finally met up on Skype, and I watched him trade the New York Open session. And by the end of that session, he had made, like $3,000 or $4,000. And then I did it again, and there was another 1,500. Then he did it again, and another 1,500. And I was like, man, what's going on here? All these graphs and everything, I couldn't understand what was going on, but I knew one thing: he was making some money. And I was really intrigued by that. I was like, how is he able to really do that? So we went back and forth I followed him for about 4 years with that, 3 or 4 years, just watching him trade, listen to him talk, trying to figure out what's going on the charts. And to be quite honest with you, I still didn't really get it. I needed to, I'm kind of a self-learner, and I took everything from him and just kind of over another couple years, um, figured things out, just really breaking things down step by step and figuring things out. Now, my journey really took off when I started, um, stop thinking about trading as something you're going to be that's super analytical. So I think my approach in the beginning was a lot like how somebody would approach medical school. You're going into school, you think there's going to be all this complicated material. You think that you're going to have to measure and break it down and read tons of books and study statistics. And so that mindset, I think, is what prolonged my journey. And with you guys, I don't think it has to be that long. I think it can take a month or two of really um, focused study, and not so much study as more so of practice. That's the differences, and that's what I'm kind of trying to get to in this video. The difference between your typical approach has to change. You can't think of this as a academic subject, more so as a sport. Okay, like if you were going to learn how to swim, say you didn't know anything about swimming, and you said, "Hey, show me how to swim." Well, in order to learn how to swim, you're going to have to get into the pool. Even if you don't know how to swim, you got to get into the pool. and you're going to learn how to breathe. Then I'm going to show you how to kick. Then I'm going to show you how to do a front, stroke. And when you got certain things down packed, you're gonna work on your balance in the water, right? Well, and then after eventually you got some core movements down, you're ready to do a freestyle or a backstroke, So that's how this program is set up. I'm gonna show you one or two things, and then you need to go into the chart and apply those things over and over and over and over until you got that one thing down. And then we'll move on to another thing, a core movement, we'll call it a core exercise. And eventually, when you got about 5 or 6 things down, that's when you're really ready to look at a chart and know exactly what's going on, know what your risk to reward ratio is going to be on any trade, and execute. Okay, so that's why I'm throwing up this graph right now, because this is really when I started getting it. I really started getting it when I started doing that. I would, for the first month when I felt like I was making progress was when I would just look at the chart and just write down the average true range every day. Just write that down. And then for the next, week or two, then what I would do is look at where support is using the average true range trailing stop. Do that for a couple weeks. Now you're really getting into a point where you're able to assess the condition of the market. And that's something we're going to talk about. But for now, I just want you to really appreciate that learning in this field comes from doing. It doesn't come from watching me talk and writing down notes, and it comes from doing. And that's why I'm going to help you. So this is a good diagram I found where, it's kind of like the cycle of application. First thing you're going to do is experience the activity. Obviously, that's where I'm going to show you something. I'm going to teach you something like the average true range, for example. And then you're going to share that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to observe that on the chart. We're going to think about exactly what that means. Volatility is the most important concept of trading. And we're going to talk about that. Number 3 is then discussing, looking at it, and experiencing it, analyzing it, reflecting on that. So that's something we do in our sessions, one-on-one, in our group sessions, and then we generalize that and connect that to, what that means in terms of real-world experience. And then we apply. All right, so that means, go into, once you have down the ATR on your chart, what is it every day? What is it every day? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is volatility expanding? Is it contracting? What does that mean? Then maybe look at that on the ES, look at that on soybean or different charts, Apple, doesn't matter. And then you're going to experience and perform that every day. Okay, that's the key difference. And then when you have that down packed, that's when we add on the second thing and the third thing. And there's probably maybe 5 or 6 core applications that you need to really get down this strategy. It's not hard. You can do it. But you have to get out of that mindset of approaching things academically and start thinking about it as a sport. Almost like if you were going to learn how to ride a bike, or if you were going to learn how to swim for the first time, you're not going to learn how to swim by looking at other people swim or listening to them talk about swimming, right? You're going to learn by getting in the pool and doing it yourself. And that is the main thing I wanted to convey in this video. All right, take care.